JOANN executives are now accused of fraud in a new lawsuit filed by vendors. Yes, we do have the court documents. Welcome to Sewing Report Live. I'm Jen. On this channel, I do news and commentary pertaining to the world of sewing and crafts, and we have a lot to get into. We're going to go through the actual lawsuit filing. Couple quick disclaimers before we really get into things. This is a pretty fluid situation, so details may change in the future. Also, I'm not an attorney. That should be pretty obvious. And this is going to be an unscripted, very minimal to no editing type of video. So just, I know sometimes they get comments like, oh my gosh, you talk so much. That's what this channel is all about. And if you do leave a comment, I do have community rules posted in the pinned comment. So just make sure to just follow these guidelines. All right, so this is the lawsuit. The JOANN executives are actually being sued on an individual level and not on behalf of JOANN. So that's kind of interesting, but I can sort of see why that's happening because JOANN is still going through the whole bankruptcy court process, and I can see, it's going to be harder to sue a company that doesn't really exist anymore, I suppose. This is the lawsuit, and here are some more details. Yes, we're going to get into all this. It's a lot. We're not going to read the whole thing line by line, but I want to try to give you some highlights. So the lawsuit was filed in Ohio, and it's Advantus Corp versus Prendergast. And Michael Prendergast was the interim JOANN CEO. He was brought in by this business management firm. Here's some of the details. So the plaintiffs are several of JOANN's vendors. They're claiming that these JOANN executives fraudulently misrepresented the company's financial situation after the first bankruptcy that was filed in 2024. Kind of in a nutshell, they're saying that these executives were painting a more rosier picture than was actually happening. So on that information, these vendors still provided inventory to JOANN's, and they provided it on credit, leading to millions of dollars in losses. So the plaintiffs are Advantus Corp, Fairfield Processing Corp, Gwen Studios LLC, Low Tech Toy Club LLC, Ormo, Ithalat, Ihracat, and Springs Creative Products Group LLC. The defendants, these are all JOANN, I guess now former JOANN executives: Michael Prendergast, Jeffrey Dwyer, Robert Will, Christopher DiTullio, Heather Holody, Michael Kennedy, and Melissa Bowers. And this was originally filed in a county court in Ohio. It has since been moved to federal courts. There's a big difference between a state or a local court and federal court. And as of now, it looks like the defendants, the former JOANN executives, are trying to get this moved to the U.S. bankruptcy court in Delaware. It kind of looks like they're trying, nobody really wants to be named personally in a lawsuit. They're saying they acted on behalf of the company. So it looks like the defendants, the JOANN executives, are trying to get this sort of rolled up into the bankruptcy case from what I can tell. So there have already been a few different filings, and I can't show you everything because some of the documents had personal information on it, like people's home addresses and stuff. So I'm not going to be able to show you everything, but I'm going to be able to show you quite a bit. All right, so here is the docket text. So yeah, there's already been a couple of motions. So yeah, notice of removal. Yes, I did find the initial lawsuit filing, and they're accusing, this is in civil court, and they're accusing these former executives of fraud. Boom. And here is the actual lawsuit filing. This is a lot to go over, and also kind of interesting. Adobe Acrobat now is this AI generative summary thing. This may not be totally accurate, but it actually was kind of helpful because, again, I'm not a lawyer, so this was kind of helpful. All right, so here are the plaintiffs, all of these companies. They are alleging on personal knowledge as to all matters. Okay, so introduction. This case arises from misrepresentations and omissions made by certain officers and employees of JOANN Inc. Following JOANN's emergence from a Chapter 11 bankruptcy that JOANN commenced on March 15th, 2024. Okay, so here are some details. They emerged as a private company because, their stock was no longer public. All right, they eliminated $505 million in debt, provided the company with $132 million of new capital, and left 96% of the company's stores four-wall cash flow positive. All right, so it says following the 2024 bankruptcy, the company projected a rosy financial condition with a projected adjusted EBITDA of $152 million in 2025 and $201 million in 2026, able to sustain JOANN's significant debt burden. Now, as I've been covering here, JOANN's was owned by a private equity group that did load up the company with a massive amount of debt. Like, that's a lot of debt. JOANN's financial condition became untenable shortly after it emerged from its 2024 bankruptcy, but in spite of JOANN's rapid and unexpected decline, the defendants chose to Now, this is what they're claiming. This does not necessarily mean this is factual. This is just what these plaintiffs are claiming in the lawsuit. So in the United States, anybody can sue anything for anybody. So this doesn't necessarily, again, take this with a grain of salt. This is obviously biased towards the plaintiffs. JOANN's financial condition, but in spite of JOANN's rapid and unexpected decline, the defendants chose to misrepresent and or conceal JOANN's financial struggle to the plaintiffs. Instead, defendants touted JOANN's financial well-being and JOANN's ability to pay plaintiffs for goods that JOANN ordered on credit. So they were in good faith providing inventory to JOANN's without them paying up front for it. All right. JOANN's business relationships with plaintiffs and JOANN's other vendors were critical for JOANN's continued survival and prosperity. Okay. All right. So yeah, JOANN sought and obtained permission from the bankruptcy court to pay outstanding and upcoming amounts owed to vendors, including plaintiffs, recognizing that the services provided by trade creditors are necessary for the continued uninterrupted operation of JOANN businesses. All right, so yeah, kind of bombshell stuff here. However, despite recognizing the plaintiffs were vital to the business, they're saying the defendants took advantage of the company's important and long-standing relationships by making false and misleading representations concerning JOANN's ability to pay for the purpose of inducing plaintiffs to ship goods to JOANN on credit. Ooh boy. Before JOANN emerged from the 2024 bankruptcy through January 15, 2025, so almost a year later, the defendants made or caused to be made misrepresentations to each plaintiff that the company was in the best financial shape it had been in over 10 years, and assured each plaintiff that it would be paid in full for goods they shipped to JOANN on credit. So they're saying that was not true, and they're saying they have suffered substantial losses. Oh boy. Indeed, JOANN later admitted that it, acting through its officers and employees, made financial assurances to its vendors while implementing its 2024 restructuring plan. All right, defendant Prendergast, JOANN's interim CEO, declared that JOANN took steps to provide sufficient financial assurances to its vendors to enable the flow of product. All right, I'll go through this AI generates. AI is not perfect, but this actually is sort of helpful. They're basically saying that they have suffered losses exceeding $40 million when JOANN's financial condition deteriorated. All right, so here are the plaintiffs here. All right, yeah, there's so much to go into. I'm trying not to make this like a 5-hour long video. All right, so the plaintiffs are a Florida-based consumer products company, a company that Fairfield Processing Corp. They make cotton and polyester fiber products based in Connecticut. Gwen Studios Craft Supplies in South Carolina. Low Tech Toy Club. Learn to Crochet Kits from North Carolina. This Ormo, a Turkish company that produces hand knitting yarns. And Springs Creative Products Group LLC. They produce fabrics from South Carolina. So they're basically saying the defendants should have known that what they were saying was not true. In fact, it says defendant Prendergast's declaration admits that shortly after emerging from the 2024 bankruptcy, the company realized that operational and financial concerns were still looming that would require the support of strategic advisors, because he came from Alvarez and Marshall. Also, quick note, we reported on one of the executives leaving through the second bankruptcy stuff, Scott Sekala. In hindsight, that's actually looking pretty smart because he is not named on this lawsuit, so maybe he saw this was not going down well and he decided to leave. I don't know, but it is interesting that the executive Scott Sekala, who did leave, he kind of got out of this mess and didn't get involved. So that's kind of interesting. In hindsight, it makes quite a bit more sense. All right, let's take a look at more of this lawsuit here. They're accusing them of literally a fraud and saying that their financial situation is better than it was and giving them a much more optimistic picture. Obviously, these vendors did not know that JOANN's would be filing for bankruptcy a second time and that the business would pretty much close altogether. As of the petition date, JOANN owed approximately $615 million of outstanding secured debt, owing $133 million to general unsecured creditors, including trade vendors and landlords. JOANN largely attributed its 2025 bankruptcy filing to inventory shortages resulting from vendors' failure to ship products, coupled with a sluggish retail economy, including high interest rates and inflation. All right, so the parties are, this Advantus Consumer Products. So they sell like office supplies, craft and hobby stuff, home. So they sell a lot of different types of products. Fairfield Processing Company, they make cotton and polyester fiber products. Okay, like all the polyfill stuff, the pillows, batting. Gwen Studios, they offer craft and hobby supplies, home decor, children's activities and toys. All right, Plaintiff Low Key Tech Club, they manufacture and distribute learn to crochet kits and related products. All right, this Turkish producer, importer, and exporter of hand-knitted yarns from Turkey. All right, Plaintiff Springs Creative Group. They make textiles, finished products, and packaged crafts and specialty fabrics. All right, so here's the lowdown on the executives and their role in everything that went down. All right, so defendant Michael Prendergast appointed JOANN's interim CEO on June 7th, 2024. So yeah, he has served as the managing director in Alvarez and Marshall's Consumer and Retail Group, and he brought over several people from Alvarez and Marshall to work at JOANN's with him. All right, so he was a key spokesperson for JOANN with each of the plaintiffs. He is in New York. All right, Jeff Dwyer, also from Alvarez and Marshall, JOANN's interim chief financial officer. All right, key spokesperson. Defendant Melissa. So these people are all being sued on an individual level. Melissa Bowers, Director of Accounting Operations from 2018. She's been with the company for 17 years. All right, Chris DiTullio, JOANN's Executive Vice President and Chief Customer Officer. He worked there for several years. All right, he was so I remember this. So JOANN appointed DiTullio along with Scott Sekala to serve as co-leads of the interim office of the chief executive officer until May 2024. So Scott Sekala was the co-lead of the interim office of CEO. I know it's quite a mouthful. So Scott Sekala pieced out, and that was probably a good decision on his part. All right, defendant Heather Holody, JOANN's Vice President, General Merchandising Manager of Sewing. Okay, interesting. From January 2021 to now. All right, she is in Ohio. Michael Kennedy, General Merchandise Manager. He's worked with the company for quite a while. And Robert Will, JOANN's Chief Merchandising Officer. He worked for the company for about 6 years. All right, so it says Will had, in that role, Will was the main spokesperson for JOANN with each of the plaintiffs. In that role, Will had a previous and continuing relationship with each plaintiff going back many years before May 2024. All right, and they're also kind of mentioning Alvarez and Marshall, that consulting firm, just with their role. Okay, so JOANN previously engaged A&M. A&M is currently JOANN's financial advisor in connection to the 2025 bankruptcy. Okay, so here is some of the allegations that the plaintiffs or the vendors are making. All right, we're not going to go over all of this. Guys, I'm kind of going through this with you. I was up super late last night trying to read all this stuff and look things up and try to find stuff for you. All right, so it says JOANN's business depends on an extensive network of vendors, including the plaintiffs. Wow, Advantus had a 30-year relationship with JOANN's. That's quite a long time. Way to stick it to your vendor of 3 decades. Advantus sold goods and services to JOANN on credit, and as a result of defendants' wrongful acts, suffered losses. So yeah, most of these vendors had a relationship with JOANN's for several years. All right, so here's what they're claiming is the defendant's wrongful conduct during the relevant period. All right, so it says defendants highlighted JOANN's financial strength and made assurances to plaintiffs that JOANN had the financial means to pay plaintiffs for the goods JOANN ordered on credit. Defendants knew and intended that these representations would be viewed by trade vendors, including plaintiffs. Indeed, JOANN had prepared and disseminated to certain vendors a vendor presentation in 2024. All right, defendants knew the plaintiffs would rely upon this. Okay, let's take a look at, so they kind of go through some of their interactions between the vendors and the company representatives. They wanted all of these vendors to ship them stuff without paying for it first. Yeah, large credit line. Okay, generous payment terms. And they're detailing some of their interactions with certain people at the company, like Heather Holody. Some pretty bombshell stuff in here, that's for sure. All of these plaintiffs have some pretty egregious accusations here. Okay, Sekala is referenced in here. But yeah, interesting that he is not personally on this lawsuit. Phone calls, text messages, meetings, video conference, I guess Zoom meetings with them. I mean, yeah, these companies have all the plaintiffs say they have suffered millions of dollars in losses from doing this because JOANN didn't pay them. All right, let's take a look at I want to see some of the numbers with the losses. Okay, guys, this is super long here. Again, we're not going to go over everything, but they all kind of have a similar tale about their dealings with JOANN. All right, so they're saying defendants had special knowledge and expertise, so they basically saying you knew this and you were still telling us otherwise. Here's how much money that all of these plaintiffs are claiming JOANN owed to them. Advantus, $1.67 million. Fairfield, $2.68 million. Gwen Studios, $4.9 million. Ormo, all right, not sure about their financial losses. Spring Creative, $1.4 million. Low Tech Toy, they shipped $5 million of products to JOANN's. Okay, wow. All right, they're also talking about something called Project Flywheel. So it says JOANN initiated Project Flywheel, requesting financial support from vendors while continuing to misrepresent its financial condition. Plaintiffs made various concessions to maintain their business relationships, like, financial concessions to support. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, guys, this is so long here. Advantus, I believe, was this Advantus, I think? Okay, they're claiming common law fraud, fraudulent misrepresentation, according to Florida law. Plaintiff Advantus against all defendants. Let's see what they're asking for. Okay, there's the same thing with Connecticut. Okay, Ohio law. Yeah, so they're all right, fun times here. South Carolina. So they're all making similar claims for various state laws here. And some of them are only, some plaintiffs are only accusing certain defendants, so not all defendants. And again, this is kind of just coming out, so I'm going to look more into this and hopefully have some follow-up coverage of this because it's probably going to change quite a bit. And we'll learn more. Negligent misrepresentation according to Ohio law. And again, this is not criminal, so it's not like they're trying to get these they're not trying to get them sent to prison or anything. This is just a civil lawsuit. Let me see where they're trying to ask for the money. So this is what they're asking for. Advantus wants at least $6.4 million plus pre- and post-judgment interest. Honestly, the likelihood of going to trial is, I wouldn't say it's super high. Maybe there would be some sort of settlement. I don't know, I don't know if this is actually going to get transferred to change jurisdictions, venues to the bankruptcy court in Delaware. Fairfield is asking for at least $3 million. All right, Ormo is asking for at least $8.6 million. Gwen Studios is asking for $5.3 million in actual damages, plus at least $3.2 million in incidental or consequential damages. Plaintiff Springs Creative is asking for $2 million in actual damages, plus at least $1.9 million in incidental and consequential damages. Yeah, they're asking for a decent chunk of change. Low Tech Toy is asking for $8 million in actual damages, $250,000 in incidental or consequential damages. I think they're asking for about, I want to say I saw 40. Okay, they're saying they suffered losses collectively of over $40 million, which I can believe. So yeah, they're asking for millions of dollars, attorney's fees, costs, other expenses, post-judgment interest, and other relief. So, quite a revelation here that the executives are being sued on an individual level. I spent hours and hours researching these videos, shooting these videos. These are available for free on YouTube. If you'd like to support the work I do here at Sewing Report Live, you can visit my Etsy shop at sewingreport.etsy.com, where I sell a curated selection of fabric and sewing supplies. Check it out. I offer free shipping on orders of $35 or more, and I do ship within the United States. Thank you for everyone who's ever purchased from me. This is a solo operation. I pack and ship all the orders myself. Yeah, there's quite a lot going on here. After this was filed in this Ohio County Court, it was removed and moved to federal court in Ohio. And here's another filing that it appears that the defendants, the JOANN executives, are trying to get this moved to basically to bankruptcy court. They're saying that this is should be part of the bankruptcy proceedings. And obviously they probably don't want to be sued individually and deal with all that. Hold up, Jen from the future here with a quick correction. It appears the defendants or the JOANN executives are not actually trying to get this vendor's lawsuit moved to the jurisdiction of the Delaware bankruptcy courts, but they may be trying to do something called a Chapter 11 block. Again, I'm not a lawyer, guys, but I looked it up, and it means to use the Chapter 11 bankruptcy to block or pause lawsuits through an automatic stay, which halts most legal actions against the debtor. And when a company files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, an automatic stay is imposed, stopping creditors from continuing lawsuits like collection efforts or financial claims. However, creditors can ask the court to lift the stay if they can show it harms them or isn't needed for reorganization. Not sure if this is actually going to happen. We will see, since these executives have been sued on an individual level. Yeah, we're going to keep you posted here. I was not expecting this at all. I saw this break last night, and then I immediately started looking around for stuff. In a nutshell, these JOANN vendors are claiming that the former JOANN executives misrepresented the financial state of the company, and they're accusing all of these people of fraudulent activity. And they're asking for millions of dollars due to losses they have suffered based on relying on that information to make their business decisions. So were you expecting this? I wasn't. I guess I'm not super surprised. So here are the basically here's everything that's happened so far. It's not much. So there's going to be more that comes out, but I will be trying to follow up on this, maybe do more of a deep dive. I didn't have like a ton of time to get into everything because I literally just found out about all of this 15 hours ago, and then I immediately started trying to do a little dig in here. So hopefully there will be there's definitely going to be more coming out about this lawsuit. And yeah, this is probably going to get moved around. There's going to be a lot of stuff that changes. This whole thing has been a total train wreck, though. I mean, I think a lot of us did see it come, see the second. Like, JOANN's has not been doing well for quite some time. And I was initially skeptical after the first bankruptcy that they were really going to be able to turn things around. They didn't. They had massive amounts of debt as well, which certainly did not help. And obviously this Alvarez and Marshall consulting group really didn't seem to do anything positive for the company, in my opinion. So that's the latest. I hope you found this video informative. If you do, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to get more news and commentary from the world of sewing crafts. You can also check out my main channel, The Sewing Report, which I was derailed from working on another video to focus on this, but I hope to get this out very shortly and keep you posted here. Check out some of my other videos here on the channel. I've been covering this JOANN situation. It feels like forever. I think it's been about 2 years, so I will see you again in the next one.